Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 188. I am your host, Carlos Romero, and I am here joined by Mr. Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Brett Murdoch,
Aloha.
and Mr. Adam Vale.
What's up, people? What's up?
Yeah, so this is the Post E3 breakdown show. Manny and Tony are obviously not here. They're not here for obvious reasons because they're still in LA. And Brian, I don't know what's Brian doing, and is he saving some royalty?
I think he's getting fit for a tuxedo.
Okay, yeah, he's going to another wedding, another royal wedding. I don't know who's this going to be, but before we start,
Some duchess.
I want to give a huge shout out to All Day Digital, Dana Abercrombie, Gary Swaby, and Riku Sun One for being in our reaction podcast. It was a lot of fun hanging out with those guys and talking about games and reacting to all those crazy reveals and all those boring moments. They made it even more fun because I got to talk to them while EA was shitting the bed, So yeah, let's move on to our featured topic today, and our featured topic will be our overall E3 impressions. So, Brett, I wanted to talk to you about that first to see what your impressions were for E3 2018.
Okay, so before I drill down into certain subject matters, overall, actually, it was a little bit more impressive than I thought. I was a little convinced this was going to be a little bit of a flop year, just kind of some holdover stuff. But we actually overall got some really big titles. We got a lot of fan favorites that were asked for. We got returns of some franchises that are mainstay staples, as well as finally seeing some of these long-standing titles that we've been waiting for come to fruition. So my overall impression is we're right where we actually should be in the generation. And I was a little bit concerned, but at this point in a normal generation cycle, we should be really seeing the cream of the crop pop up. This is when the last of us are born. And actually, we are seeing that. So my fear that development cycle had slowed down behind the scenes or been cornered, um, just turns out we were getting a lot of filler stuff, and we are still getting what looks to be some of those games that make the generation. And it's not too late for that. It's about time for it to happen. So I'm really happy to see that. So some titles I'm speaking about in particular are, we're seeing another Doom, we're seeing another Halo, we're seeing another Gears of War, we're seeing the Spider-Man game come out, we're seeing From Software's new game being shown. There's a whole lot of gold here, a whole lot of gold, and absolutely my absolute positive favorite of the whole thing, Bethesda's conference. Oh my holy fucking shit! I don't know how much some of you out there have been listening to this podcast, but pretty much anybody that knows me shit their pants on my behalf during this conference. I don't know anybody that watched this that did not immediately text me and be like, dude. I will start with eating my little bit of crow that I do deserve. They did announce the new Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
But I will say with that comes a little garnish of I am right in they did announce both previous games that they were supposed to announce before they announced Elder Scrolls. I just didn't anticipate them doing all three at the same time. But kudos to you, Bethesda. That's well done. Well done. Now, some of these are a little further out. My personal favorite, and I've been around the drum on this one, is finally Fallout 76. This game was fucking made for me. Holy shit, this is the greatest thing I have ever heard in probably the last 10 years. This is video game fucking history right here. You have taken my favorite type of game, an experimental type of game that hasn't received the big love from a huge developer that it needs, and shoved it into the skin of one of my favorite franchises ever, which with its last iteration has been begging for this facelift. And oh, by the way, multiplayer is one of the most requested features of any Bethesda game ever. So you are not only delivering on one side of the fence, you're delivering in spades on both sides of the fence as far as I'm concerned. This game could be a hot dumpster fire. I am still going to love it. Now, I don't think that it is, and there's some really important stuff, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent. I warned these guys I'm going to dust out the soapbox, so I'm pulling out the cupboard, open the door. Y'all right remember my Daisy soapbox that I had from years ago. I dusted it, I shined it. I'm ready to get back up on this bitch again, because here's the thing. I have been talking about this for years, I have been talking about the idea of an open world progression survival sandbox game set in like multiple servers where you can have full PvP loot and the ability for actions and consequences and real world organic stories to develop and flourish. I have been talking about this since DayZ. I've been talking about it in every iteration and every evolution that it has had since DayZ, as it's gone through DayZ and into H1Z1 and into Rust and into Ark and into Battlegrounds. And now, miraculously, we find ourselves where I have said we were going to find ourselves all along, in a place where we are seeing a burgeoning genre finally giving the treatment it deserves by a large AAA studio. And I think this is going to be the thing that kicks off a whole new fucking trend that is going to replace all of this battleground shit, because all of this King of the Hill battlegrounds shit, it's just trying to encapsulate all the best parts of this emergent genre. And this emergent genre is finally shaking itself loose of the training wheels and has an idea of how it wants to interact with the player. It's been a long, painful process. It's been full of evolution. It's been full of offline base rating and hacking and aimbotting and exploitation and running forever. They've had to balance the space between things, the spawn rate of things, how fast you die of hunger, how fast you die of thirst. They've had to figure out slowly how to organically drive players into certain channels where they're going to meet with each other, and then letting the narrative develop from there. This has been something that the Kinks have been worked out of, but I can tell you from playing Conan right now, even Funcom, and I'm not the biggest Funcom supporter, even Funcom has mostly figured it out. And if Funcom can 80% figure it out, I'll bet my bottom fucking dollar that Bethesda can figure it out. Now, will this be crazy and buggy and drive people insane? Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is a Bethesda game. Don't think that I'm not saying that for one fucking second. Get ready to have all your Bethesda bug fun now shared with all of your friends' Bethesda bug fun. This is going to be a wild ride, folks. But at the end of the day, I think there's going to be a truly enjoyable experience in there that is going to be people's big takeaway of November. And that's the other thing. They announced it at E3. They released it in November. I called it, but I'm still shocked that I was right and still super fucking excited about it.
I'm curious to like, did they say how many players can play in the same game?
12.
They said 12. And now I can get, if you want me to, I'll get into the speculation of the mechanics of this, because having played a lot of these games, I can see a lot of places they're coming from, and I think I know some of the directions. I'm also confused by some other design choices.
Well,
But for instance, yeah,
there was the sort of my biggest question about the whole thing is this whole experience supposed to be just a sort of I'm guessing this is why you like it, a sandbox experience with friends, or is this supposed to be a narrative ordeal where you get to play a story with your friends that where you happen to be able to like make settlements and stuff like that in the world?
It is the latter, and this is why I'm so very excited for this game. They finally figured out that the true key to this is a hybrid formula. That yes, you can give people a sandbox and they will play around in it forever, but some people also require direction, and having a narrative that you can follow actually can fit that really well. Again, Conan kind of does this. It urges you to make better weapons and explore these ruins and kill this boss monster, but it doesn't really push you in a direction. So you'll always have somewhere to go, but you don't have to do it. And the beauty of this thing will be much like every Fallout game. It'll probably have a core storyline. It'll probably be lighter in the side quests, will be the big thing. It's instead of side questing randomly and exploring through things, it's going to allow that to be a little bit more organic. But it will still have, because they even said they will send you on a quest that sends you through all 5 of the giant world zone terrains that they have planned out. So not only will there be a quest system, there will be a progression system that constantly ushers you through the world into new places, which will bring a sense of progression, and it'll bring a sense of conflict as one player group emerges from their tier 1 level 10 level 0 to 10, and
Yeah.
they emerge on the wasteland. They'll maybe run into territory conflicts with another group who is ready to move on, but they're still kind of squatting in the area. So you get kind of a game of musical chairs. This creates tension, this creates hostility, and this kind of can create gameplay and narrative. So my big thing with the 12 players is I'm thinking you have to be able to migrate servers. 12 players over a landmass that size is not necessarily hugely conducive to owning land and creating this kind of Game of Thrones-esque drama, because that's what always happens in these games, and that's actually kind of the beauty of it. Is you tend to make friends with people close to you, you tend to make enemies with people far from you, and eventually people make allies, and a huge turf war breaks out. This big crazy story happens, but that's going to be really hard to do with 12 players. And granted, that is 12 players on at any given time. These games have a tendency to, because they're always on, cycle through player bases. So even if you have a server cap of 50, you generally have several hundred people rolling through that server every day. And if they're all building bases, then that can stack up rather quickly. But at being 4 times the size of Fallout, there's only that many players. The chances of you running into huge, gigantic settlements aren't super common, which is going to keep an element of suspense to it. Which makes me wonder if you'll be able to pack up your base and move servers. And I know that they talked about progression will be character based, and I think they mentioned it being able to transfer between servers. So if your character moves between servers, that would mean your base would have to as well.
So looking at the show notes, I'm pretty sure we're gonna touch upon Fallout 4 or Fallout 76 maybe later on the show. Wink, wink. Any other games, Brett, that you saw, or any announcements that you heard from any of the conferences that caught your eye?
The big sleeper surprise to me was this game Control. I had not heard of this game before, and I am a huge fan of Destroy All Humans, Force Unleashed, any of this, bending reality, being able to
Psyops. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. So that came out of nowhere, and it actually looked like it had really tight gameplay, really crisp visuals. I was like, I'm surprised I haven't heard of this game being apparently as developed as it is. So I was super shocked by that. And immediately, you give me the option to throw things around with my mind, I'm on board. So that one really jumped out at me. I knew Spider-Man was going to be awesome, but god damn, it looks awesome.
Yeah, man. The part where they were, because I mean the combat, we already saw bits and pieces of that. The part where it was kind of like a set piece that was kind of Uncharted-esque, when he was just web slinging through the whole.
Out of the building?
Yes. I was like,
oh
damn it, man. This looks so good.
That is some adrenaline rush shit right there. Like, that is some Burnout style. Like, yes, make the lines blur. You were this close to giving me a seizure, and I love it. Let's keep doing this.
By the way, Rishal, Control is the new Remedy game. I remember we were reacting to it, and I was like, wait, is that looks like a lot like Quantum Break. And I'm like, and I think someone mentioned, it's like, yeah, that's by Remedy. And I'm like, oh, I think this is the new Remedy game.
Once they showed the bullet time, that's when I knew.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, wait. Oh, shit. There's only one studio that does it. That's good.
Yeah, because they have their own style that, like, you could tell right away, because the whole Quantum Break, Alan Wake kind of style to the game, the way it just looks, a lot of the animations look like they're inspired by those games. So yeah,
and I loved Quantum Break, but I'll be honest, I was a little shocked. I didn't think it performed well enough.
It didn't.
For this to happen, but apparently it did, and I'm very thankful that it did.
Well, it did, and it didn't. I mean, I think it was like
critically well received. It just I don't think it performed monetarily. I don't think it got the return that they were looking for. So it's good to see them putting that much investment into another iteration. I'm glad to see they didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater, even though they're really.
This is like a completely different game. I mean, the other one was also / a TV show.
Yeah, and I'm happy it's not this time. I just don't. I don't know. I don't want them to be like bound by anything. It seemed like this whole TV tie-in.
This is multi-platform. That was it. The other one was Xbox exclusive. This isn't.
Yeah, but what I'm mentioning is, like, I don't want them to be sort of, oh, we have to follow this narrative, or we have to do this so it could be like this TV show. And I'm like, no, just make your game, man. I could care less. I couldn't care less if this is based on a TV show. If the game's good, like, just make the game good.
Oh, another thing I wanted to mention. What was the game by Justin Roiland that's coming out?
Oh, Trevor Saves the Universe.
Trevor Saves the Universe.
Oh.
I'm really excited by that, actually.
The one that looks like Mr. Meeseeks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care. I love Rick and Morty, and I've been a fan of Dan Harmon long enough that I can tell his style of humor. So when I watch Rick and Morty, I can see Justin Roiland's influence on it, and I can tell. I've come to learn that dude is a funny motherfucker. It's just he gets me. He gets me every time. And so like I know it's kind of just like this little indie game thing, and I know it's just you're probably fart humor and everything. I'm like, God damn it, I'm gonna buy the shit out of that game.
What was the new Platinum game? Did they show a Platinum game?
I don't remember one. They only showed on Xbox that Nier Automata was coming to Xbox One.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, can I give a big old fuck you?
Go for it.
That's my last time. Fuck you, Devil May Cry. Fuck you for being
Oh.
like every worst iteration of Devil May Cry, and fuck you for that throttling sword. Just seriously, I cannot say that hard enough. Fuck you for putting a motorcycle throttle on a sword. Just eat a dick.
Wait, so you're not happy with this new this new iteration, I'm assuming, right?
No, it just is the cheesiest, lamest callback. Like, you could have evolved the franchise, but instead you decided to pull in every fucking derivative bullshit, like, cheap ass moment that you've ever had and ham fist them into one fucking game. This game looks like the leftover reject B cut of other games with a final cut of polish over it. Every character seems obnoxious and over the top. It seems unnecessary. Like, who is this for? Like, Xbox fans 14 years ago? What the fuck?
Yeah, and Ninja Theory isn't making this game, so what?
Dude, even down to the animations, like even down to like the fucking the when they were in the van, I was like, this doesn't look good. Everything isn't moving the way that it should. It looks cheap. It looks like you're moving assets around in Flash. I don't know what you're doing here, but none of it, and I guess just none of it panders to me. Or maybe you're going for the super heavy nostalgia, tongue in cheek. Remember how good / awful this was, but you missed the mark, you guys. And on something like Devil May Cry, like that's kind of a cherished franchise. You've tried to reinvent the wheel on that so many times, and for some reason you just decided to make the wheel out of scraps this time.
Well, the thing that like upset me the most is that they're showing Nero right in the game. It's like, oh, okay, so we're gonna play with Nero again, and then they showed Dante, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting that Devil May Cry 4 flashback. I'm like, I don't want to go through that again. By the way,
Yeah,
they're mentioning in the chat that the Platinum game was showed at the Square Enix press conference. I honestly I don't remember what the hell happened in Square Enix because it started and ended so fast. I was like,
Yeah, it
oh
was
shit,
pretty
this.
abrupt.
Yep, I was at work too, and I was just paying half
What?
attention and it was over.
Yeah, what game was it? Like the only Square game I remember from this conference because it was showing so much is Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say because I know what they didn't show. They didn't show Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh
They
yeah.
didn't
no,
show
they did
the
not.
they didn't show the Avengers game.
Nope.
So yeah, I don't remember the Platinum game to be honest. All right, let's
Why,
move. Okay.
why, why were the elephants in the room proverbially missing from this show? Like we know everybody's release schedule for the last half of the year is around Red Dead, right?
Mhm.
No mention of Red Dead. Final Fantasy VII, one of the biggest things Square is working on, gonna release. No mention of it. Like it's not like nothing happening. Like why they even have a press conference? Like seriously, like the 30-minute, it was barely 30 minutes, and most of it was talking about Kingdom Hearts. Give me a break. Everyone was talking about Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Babylon's Fall.
Okay.
Oh,
I need
I
to
don't even.
recheck
I
that.
have to look at the trailer again. I don't
Yeah, I'm
even-
like I need to remind myself what the hell happened.
Did I put that out of my mind? I don't even remember what it looks like.
So the oh damn it, I forgot what we were gonna mention. Oh yeah, there's the whole Superman thing. Vishal mentioned Superman. Yeah, like why didn't we
Well,
see
that wasn't
Superman?
shown. There was a lot of games that weren't shown. A lot of
Yeah.
studios. Rocksteady even came out and apologized for not showing up.
So,
Shit.
man. But
Like
why wouldn't that be a priority? Like, how could like you have Warner Brothers has the money to put stuff at E3? Like, how did they miss this opportunity to show anything? Like, oh, not even a logo. Like, fuck it, they're not showing anything. Forget it.
Yo, Chris, what were your overall thoughts about this E3?
Other than I think the only company I give props to really this year is Microsoft. Like, actually showed they're committed. Like, I was under the impression, like, looking at the financials statement says Xbox, how they've been acting, like, they're just gonna drift into service territory and they're gonna let this fly. No, they went out and bought five freaking studios,
Yep.
and they were showing, like, they were literally, that whole show was, we're sorry guys, we're committed to you, we're gonna do this. So I was impressed by that. I honestly was like, okay, so Phil Spencer went out there, he apologized, he's like, look at the commitment. We bought Ninja Theory, for God's sakes. I don't know how they pulled that off. And
Yeah.
they're just like, we're
Security.
showing, yeah, we're showing the games. No, but like the fact that Ninja Theory, like, I know everyone has their price, but the fact that they sold to them, like, I was like, oh shit.
'Cause they did a press release, Ninja Theory, explaining it because I guess there was some backlash to it.
Oh sure, I'm sure, because what they just made Hellblade, right? And
Yeah,
Hellblade,
yeah.
even though it was cross plat, like PS4, and they've made PlayStation exclusives, those days are over. So that's where the backlash is coming from, right?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
they show the commitment. EA was trash as usual. I didn't expect anything from them, but this conference probably is the worst thing they've ever done. Like, the most boring, like, ridiculous nonsense. Um, and other than that, I thought Sony's, while they had good content, like, I don't know what was up with that, moving people around and
Oh man.
the
Yep.
organization.
Yeah, that was a pain in the
Yeah.
ass.
You
That
guys
was
can.
a
You guys can
And their
watch the
food
stream,
sucked.
man. Man, that reaction.
Was it me or
oh, sorry. So go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
did Sony seem like they were breaking their arm to pat themselves on the back to anybody
Ki-
else? Like, it just
kind
seemed like,
of.
I get it. It's classy. You're arty. Just show us some fucking video games.
I thought it was odd that is it Andrew? Who's the president of Sony now? I always forget his last name.
Andrew.
It's not Stanton, right?
No, Andrew. Yeah, I know who you're
Not Andrew
talking about.
House.
Andrew House. There you go.
Andrew House. Yo, why did he seem so nervous at the beginning of that conference? I swear, like, when he was talking and before The Last of Us 2, I'm like, dude, what is up with you? Like,
I I feel he gets like that when there's no prompter. When there's a
yeah,
prompter, you'll see him stand there and he's calm, he's reading it. But when it's not, it's like he's trying to remember his lines, his speech.
okay, so all right, if you're gonna be like, then get the man a prompter and pull it up when he's done. Like that just felt so weird. Like, I was worried. Like, you read body language, right? If you
Hmm.
So you see a guy like that, and he's nervous before the presentation, like, not getting a good vibe here, you know. Then Banjo guy comes out. I'm like, is this what we're in for? We're in for some nonsense here,
Banjo guy.
you know?
Yeah,
And then they finally show the game, and it's like, yo, is that gameplay that's hot? But it's like, okay, we waited through all that to get to this, and it's like, oh, the content's good. Oh, Spider-Man's good. Thank God. All right, they showed some stuff. Now it's a little sparse in there because they wasted a whole lot of time in between with that intermission stuff, and they're like, oh, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. Yo, you should be talking about a whole bunch of shit.
Yep.
Like, Microsoft literally went back to formula, did what you did, and just showed game, 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 game. And Phil Spencer came out and it's like, yeah, we're committed, we're committed. Like, that's how you do it, right? That's all we want.
Hmm.
Like, he wasn't really talking to investors, although he could have been. Like, they were happy. As long as we're happy, they're happy, right? Oh shit,
yeah.
people are gonna buy shit, we're investing. Like, EA don't get it. They're just like, yo, investors, we got the Champions League. See this giant trophy?
Oh,
See how
that was
awesome we
such a
are?
waste. And
Yeah,
and I had mentioned it during the chat. That's just as the past few weeks that deal was made because Pez just said they couldn't renew it. I don't know if it was a price or whatever, but they let it go, and
yeah.
everybody knew, well, EA is going to pick it up. So if they didn't have that, what the hell were they going to show off?
Exactly. They wasted so much time on that, and then for nothing. Nobody cared. Nobody gave a
No.
shit. And it's such a waste. So they're still talking to investors. They don't get it. And then meanwhile, Microsoft went out there, spoke to us. That was good. And then Sony was kind of like, we're gonna give you an experience, but it's like, but everyone at home is just gonna be
Yeah.
awkward while we give everyone else an experience.
Yeah, because I mean, Tony and Manny were there, and they loved the experience. And I'm like, oh man, so you're just this is catered to the people that are there. Because for us over here, that shit was That shit was dragged
It was like
out.
a half an hour or so that we had to wait, and then they lost connection when they did the switch. Remember, all the feeds went down. The
All the
Twitch
feeds
feed
Yeah.
went
went down.
yeah.
Then everybody jumped on YouTube. Then YouTube was getting hit hard, and then the
Remember?
video quality was getting all sketchy with the audio and oh
Yep.
shit.
It was clicking.
Yeah, and we just kept going back and forth until they finally resolved it. And that was like, I think was it the Ghost? Was it the
Tsushima.
Ghost? Was it that game that it fixed itself,
It was
or was it
like it.
after that?
I think it was like during Ghost of Tsushima where that was
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, because oh man, so much shit went bad for that conference. Technically, what was that? Yeah, because the whole thing started right, and I think the second game, which was Ghost of Tsushima, that was shown properly, was 30 minutes within the conference. So between when it started and in 30 minutes, the second proper game came out. That's too long a time to wait for a freaking game.
Yeah.
So this, I mean,
I think the only thing we had in between that was that they announced the map, the new map for Black Ops
New Game Plus on God of
4.
War.
Yep. And then
Yep.
they announced, oh yeah, you could download Black Ops 3. That's going to be available as a plus game. And now it's in. And they were just trying to figure out filler time. I was like, yeah, we're still waiting. It's taking a little longer, than expected. So that was it.
So Adam, what are your thoughts? Overall thoughts?
My disappointment with EA, man. No
Skate.
skate. Are you kidding?
we
And
got teased too.
Oh, holy shit! Well, that's the thing. Even the people there, like after that show, and the other sites had tried to talk to EA about the servers, and they were like, "No, we don't know. I don't know. We're not aware of that. We're not aware of that." The reps just didn't want to talk about. Why turn those servers on then? And I kept saying, why they did it? To shut people up. They thought that would be enough. Like, hey, you're bitching about not having the parks and all the other stuff. Here, servers are on. Go ahead. Happy? Now you can leave us alone, because they didn't have anything for us. And then everybody got excited when we saw Session. Well, before we saw Session, remember, I was freaking out. We just saw skateboarding, and then when they announced it was Session. And Session is that Kickstarter that it's a skateboard sim. You got your left foot on your left stick, your right foot on the right stick. You use the bumpers and stuff to move. It's hard as fuck to play.
Yeah.
It's a sim. It's a sim. It's not what we expect. So I'm like, there goes that. But that EA access sound pretty cool if you think about it. Like when we looked it up afterwards, so $100 for the year, and you get all the new EA games, especially the sport games stuff. And for people that are big into getting a FIFA and a Madden, just getting those two games right off the bat, then you already got your money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
That not including all the other titles that'll probably come down the line. Not a bad idea, I guess, but kind of funny that service is on Microsoft's platform out of all the other consoles. And then here it is, Microsoft's announcing, besides Game Pass, they have their own streaming service that they're going to launch.
Yep.
So I'm like, yeah, a service within a service within a service, because it's Xbox Live. I think you still need Xbox Live to use the EA.
That's too
service.
many goddamn services, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like, but one of the things, and that's why it's like it's really going to focus on this Microsoft one, because it's so crazy. And then even after, people can look up, there was a great interview with Giant Bomb that he did, but he sort of talked about on the stage when he's like, our goal is to give everyone the experience they want from games, which is why he's doing the cross play and all that stuff. We want to be on your phones, we're going to be on your PCs, we're going to be on your the console, and then he said your mobile devices. And when he said that, and then later on when he did an interview and Giant Bomb talking about how they have a great working relationship with Nintendo, especially coming from a different angle because they're third party, and everything is great. And they're talking about bringing more Xbox games there. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that Xbox service app on a Switch within a year or so, where it's like, hey, there it is. You want to log in and do it, because it's a win-win for everybody. Win-win for Nintendo, but they sell a hell of a lot of more Switches now, because they get all those people that are like, damn, what, I could play my Xbox on the go? Yeah, I'll do that. And then you get people that definitely want to play their games on the go like that, their Xbox games. So it's a win-win if they have that partnership, and that was kind of cool. And yeah, the studios, buying those studios, man.
I mean, that would be a huge, especially leading into. I know we're going to talk about the Sony and Fortnite. But I was talking to Kristen earlier. I was like, what if next year Phil Spencer walked out, talked about that, exactly what Adam was talking about with the app being on Switch and stuff, and then brought out Reggie on stage and say, see, we got cooperation going on. That would be enormous. That would be
Oh
a
yeah.
Yeah.
huge finger
Mhm.
to Sony. There'll be a huge. Meanwhile, Sony's like, now you're in our ecosystem or you're asked out, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Sony's
So,
setting
yeah.
themselves up to fail next gen.
Yeah.
Man,
Oh yeah. It's theirs to lose. Like if they want to just be like, nah, closed system, we're not gonna let you play with it. Or you can play with PC guys. How about that? It's like, nah,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, they still can't even change the gamer tags, and that's been an issue for years. So we'll see if they ever do any kind of changes. But I mean, hey, can't knock Sony totally because I mean, some of those games are awesome, man. The Last of Us looked amazing. I
Well,
mean, those are some beautiful games. The Spider-Man had me sold because I was not interested. I mean, it had that Arkham
oh, it
feel.
sold you.
It sold me.
Oh,
It sold me big
nice.
time because I'm like, oh wow, this is going to be fun to play. It's definitely going to be. Then again, I mean, they're showing us big spots. That was a big battle, obviously. The whole segment, everything. So, but what's the meat of the game? What are we doing? Is there a story? Are we going to be running around as Peter Parker and then switching to Spider-Man, or are we always Spider-Man? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all I want to know. But besides from what that, I mean, we saw some amazing gameplay in that. So I was sold on it. Uh, Vault 76 had that cool division feel of jumping in and out when they were like, "Hey, we understand what you guys think with the building and all that, but hey, there's a lot of other stuff, and it's a shooter aspect to it. It's still Fallout, remember?" And they showed the guy raiding some kind of house or something, and there was people shooting back, and then your buddies came running, and then you see all the gamer tags on top of their heads and stuff, and everybody's running around. I'm like, oh, this would be cool. Brett can go, like he said, make bases, and then we'll go and scavenge and come back and drop the shit off, and hopefully we could mobilize the base and don't have to say, well, remember that base I built yesterday? Yeah, that shit's gone. So we're gonna have to spend another 8 hours trying to make this. Can you go get those parts again? Thanks. So hopefully we don't have that issue. But yeah, it looked cool. And the fact that after, I think it was yesterday, today, they announced that they plan to do free updates forever for the life of that game.
Nice.
So that's awesome news to hear that they're willing to support it, and they're seeing that as a long term. Like, yeah, we're gonna have all these other Fallout, probably Fallout 5 also, but this Vault 76 is its own thing, and it's gonna be its own thing for a long time, which is cool. And then of course, I was really excited for the Division 2, and then I'm not so excited for the Division 2. And
what happened?
it's just what they showed. It's the world. It didn't feel dense enough. I felt too open. It looked too much like Wildlands, and Tony was like, "But you like Wildlands?" I was like, "Yeah, for what it was. That's not what I want the Division to be." I mean, it felt like we're in the woods. We start off, we see it down playing, we fight a guy, and then there's like open area. And I'm like, fuck. And there's like a lot of open area. I want that. The whole thing I looked about the Division, the first one in the city environment, it's just that you can go into almost all these buildings. People who are coming out of all over the damn place, in alleyways and then subway stations, people crawling up. So every time you turn the block, anything could happen. And this one, you see them walking down. It's like you can see for like a mile or so. I'm like, oh man, unless there's like tunnels or something. And from what they say, it's all within uh, Washington. So it's like, well, you got Washington, D.C., with District of Columbia. It's pretty small when it comes to all those buildings. Out of that, you have the suburb, and then we have, the countryside. And you're starting from the west and you're moving to the east. That's the game. So I just hope that they throw a lot in there. So it's not just like, all right, we're on this, trail. Oop, take cover, shoot, maybe go into one or two little buildings or something, and then just keep walking forward, and doing the trek. That's the only thing. And then there is a dark zone, but we didn't see it. And it's like, where is that going to be? Is that going to be an island? It just, I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm still excited, but not as excited. I was expecting a little more with that. And then that was it. But overall, it was all right. Everybody had something to show except the EA.
Except the I was about to say that.
Except the EA. And even with the Titanfall thing, it's like they didn't even announce Titanfall. Respawn talked about the Star Wars, and they had nothing to show. You couldn't just put together a little video or something and just show the protagonist or do something. No. Instead, we're going to sit here with the developer with a Kool-Aid smile and say, guess what? Yeah, we're making it. Yeah, we knew that, but
Yeah.
now what? Well, that's it. It's like, okay, thanks, bye. So that
Yeah.
was a waste. And all that time on stage talking with Anthem, and then with the kid that won the Madden, and he has a belt, and then they take the belt away from him, and then the fake Command and Conquer mobile game. And I'm like, this Oh, yeah, but Gears, that's the funny thing. And this is another thing that we found out afterwards. We all know now there's 3 Gears games coming. One's a Funko Pop weirdo thing, whatever. That's mobile. But the Tactics, which is like XCOM, loved XCOM, like Shadowrun on Super NES, that's a PC
PC.
exclusive.
Yep.
That is crazy. When did they? I mean, why would they do that, especially with Gears? Oh, and then the announcement that Gears is rebranded. Gears is no longer Gears of War. It's just Gears.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm like, okay, well, they shortened it. All right, whatever. But damn, really, Tactics? That's not gonna be on. If there's any game, I'm telling you right now, if there's any game that they have right now in their library that would fit perfect on the Switch, that Tactics would do it. Because that's perfect, the on the go type of thing. That's what I loved about XCOM. I'm playing it on my Vita. It's like shit, it's just on the go, do these little missions, boom, boom, boom. It's awesome. But we'll see. But man, I couldn't believe that it's a PC exclusive. And there was a lot of people. I saw another film. No, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. That's an in-house. That's exclusive. How are you going to do that with Gears? How are you going to do it? They did it.
By the way, we had 2 people join the call during that time. What up, Brian?
Yo, what's up?
Yo.
And we had Mr. All Day Digital. What up, All Day?
What's up? What's up? What's going on, people?
Beep 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 beep. You gotta do that Morse code. Beep 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 beep. He's coming in from a digital transition. Beep 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 beep.
Transformers, you know what I mean? What's up, y'all?
Yo, man, chilling. We're talking about what our impressions were for E3. So, All Day, what were your impressions of E3 this year?
You know what? There's a lot of games I was excited for that weren't announced. So I was kind of like, I'm all looking around, I'm looking over the fence, like, hey, what the fuck? It's I was satisfied with what I saw. A lot of stuff I did like, but overall, there was like MK11. I was looking for that. And what else? That game Biomutant, I was interested in that. I didn't see that. And just a few little games, but overall, D3 was okay. It wasn't that bad. There's a lot of stuff I was surprised by, and I did like. Like you guys were talking, I just came in on the tail end of that Gears conversation, and I kind of don't understand why it's a PC exclusive when Halo Wars 2 was, Halo Wars 1, so
yeah,
there's
that's weird.
I would think that'd be right up their alley,
Well, then again, wouldn't it make kind of a little bit more sense to release it on PC only? Because if you only release it, if you release it for the console, that means you have to sacrifice sort of the complexity of the RTS genre. Because I mean, Halo Wars, while it's a good game by most people's standards, it's kind of a
it's like a half-ass game.
Yeah, it's a half-assed RTS game in a sense.
But that's the thing. This isn't, the tactics is that you're with the small group. It's XCOM, and you're moving them. You have like 4 steps. You take your 4 steps and you decide what you want to do. Take cover, attack. So it fits out. It's strategy. It's tactics, as opposed to just having one of those RTS where you have to move around and you have one mobile group. You set them. You're like, right, how can I move them up? You really need a mouse for that. You don't need that for this. I mean, hell, I remember playing the one game that brought me into this genre was Shadowrun on Super NES.
Right.
And my mind was blown. I was like, shit, I love this. And it was too far in between to find another one. Syndicate came out, and a few others, those type. But man, it's like when I saw that, I was hyped. And I'm still gonna hype. I have a PC, so I'll still play it there. But man, yeah, my PC. But you know what? Anything can happen. They didn't give a release date for that, so.
No.
Who knows? With the outcry, they could easily just flip a switch, just like they were like, "Oh, we can't support backward." But fuck it, we did it! We did it! Remember that? Remember when they said it just couldn't happen? No, I'm sorry, we can't do it. No, the structures. No, we did it. We April Fools, suckers. We got you. So anything is possible.
And like on that same note, don't they have I've been seeing previews of this one game. It's like a FBI tactical SOCOM-ish game that's coming out on PC. I forgot the name. It looks really interesting. And it's coming out on consoles and Steam. And it looks really immersive and it looks really good. It's just like an XCOM clone, but with a crazy twist. Like I don't know. It's like, have you guys seen it? I forgot what it's called.
I don't remember.
It's like an FBI agent. They kind of investigate aliens, and it's kind of like XCOM, but you can like some of your partners can like turn on you, or it's crazy. Shit. I forgot what it's called, but that's coming to consoles and PC. So I'm like, I don't see how expansive they're trying to make this Gears of War Tactics. I don't get it. Like, just like Age of Empires, that's not on console either. And I think Yeah, I don't know if it's a CPU issue.
They said they couldn't get just the controls. That's the whole thing. They kept trying to perfect the controls.
But
and
if
it's just-
XCOM can do it, then I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to do the extra work to symbolize it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
By the way, one thing that you were talking about things that didn't show up, you forgot about the one that we all thought showed up, but did busted out the okie doke.
Red Dead?
No, Skate.
What? Oh, Skate! Ah, no, I didn't see. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't fucking want to think about it. We got Sessions.
Let's see. I mean, there was a lot of big games that didn't show up. We didn't see that. We definitely didn't hear anything about the Superman. Damn, there was something else big that everyone was like, "Yo, they didn't even talk about it."
The
the
Yakuza-
Final Fantasy.
The Avengers game.
The Avengers
The
game.
Avengers
we didn't hear
game.
about that.
What was that? God damn it! Why am I Shenmue?
Shenmue.
Shenmue?
Yeah,
Yep.
Shenmue.
As if, what's going on with that? Who knows? Oh man, there was something else too. There's another big game.
Well, Metroid.
Oh, there you go. Metroid. That was another
Metroid.
one.
Yep, Metroid is a big one. Yeah.
Especially with Nintendo. Nintendo was a big disappointment because they spent like a half an hour on Smash Brothers. Really? Come on now. You already told us all these characters. We get it.
Bro, and then after they showed all the characters, they showed us a fucking fighting tutorial.
They showed all the skill sets for pretty much every character, and I'm like, why? It's like, Link now has the Breath of the Wild skin, and he also does this, and his animation is slightly better than the one before. Young Link can do this.
Okay.
And I'm like, God damn it! Like, this is they spent like 30 minutes, probably more, on just that, and their conference wasn't even that long.
And what about this? What about that mech game they showed? That shit looked sick as fuck.
Yep.
That shit looked great. And we only saw like a snippet of that, and then we spent 22 minutes on Smash. We get it. We've been playing Smash for almost 20 years now.
Yep. Yeah, it felt like Nintendo didn't really have that much to show, and they just were like, okay, we're just gonna do a full blowout of Super Smash Brothers because everyone will lose their minds.
Can you guys? All right. So from what I understand with the Fortnite, with the way the chat function works, is that's just a feature that's it's in the game. Epic did that
Natively.
Right. Exactly. All right. So then that's going to be the workaround. If any game actually needs that function, do it your damn self. You know.
Let's talk about Fortnite. Like, there's this whole controversy going on with Sony about how Sony is not letting people who registered Fortnite in their PSN to be able to use their accounts on another platform. And I'm wondering what you guys thoughts were on that, because it's been blowing up.
I'm gonna get it out the way really quick. Everybody's doing it. Sony's gonna look like the bad guy. You know, I think they should bend the knee and do it. I mean, you're not talking about cross play. We're talking about cross progression. All your existing items go with you. All the stuff you purchase. Because I play Hearthstone a lot, and I can play on Android, iOS, and PC, and my account goes with me. Whatever I purchase, all the cards I have, they're there with me. It's a digital game, right? So I think Fortnite's breaking the mold on that, and they kind of want to push this. So if everybody's saying, yeah, we'll do it, I think Sony needs to go ahead and do it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's that hate, man, from the console wars back in the day. It's just they freaking hate Nintendo. I think that's what it really comes down to. You tell the old guard, hey, maybe we should I'm dead to
Xbox, no.
Yeah, they pull out the Philips CDI. It's like, we haven't forgotten.
They're all tapping it. Remember this?
Well, that's what Phil in his interview afterwards talked about. He was like, people understand that we're in an age where we always talk about social media and connecting people. Well, this is part of that. We can't incorporate all these functions and then act like this part of the business doesn't exist.
Yeah, by the way, just to interject real quick, Adam texted us in this morning with that interview with Phil Spencer. He did like a 40-minute interview with Jeff Gertzman from Giant Bomb. I really recommend everyone to watch it, because like it's so refreshing hearing him talk. Because it's like you don't hear CEOs or presidents of a certain part of a corporation like be honest.
He didn't give the corporate spiel. He even said it. He's like, I'm not going to give the speech. I'm going to tell it like it is, because your audience is up to date. They know what's going on, so they're going to know what I'm talking about. So basically, I can't blow smoke up your guys' asses because you're all following all the shit online anyway. You know what I'm talking about. So
yeah.
It was really good. It was a good interview. It was very honest.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've talked to Phil in parties before, and the guy, you could tell when he's doing PR and when he's not, and most of the time when he's just talking and playing games, bro, he's himself, and that's pretty cool.
So he asked about the situation with Crackdown, and he was like, "No, it's not dead. It's not like the other games that I canceled. It's not going to be like that." But
Something like that.
he said that he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not. Believe me, if it was on that track, I would have just pulled it then."
But look, I can't admit, it really is disappointing. If you're gonna you delay the game and not show anything on stage. I mean, they showed a little something, but people are clamoring for that multiplayer. We want to see what you guys been doing. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he said that he worked on the first Crackdown. I didn't know he was part of that team because I thought it was just he was on the Microsoft team. But I guess they worked with Rebels. I forgot the name of that studio that did it. But
Real Time Studios.
Was it Real Time? Yeah, it was Real Time. So they helped out and they worked. So he worked on it. And when he played, he's like, this just it looks like Crackdown, but it doesn't feel like Crackdown. And he says we need it to feel like Crackdown in the modern age. And so he said it was his call, and that was it. He was like, it just needs more time. It needs more time. Just fix it.
Yeah, because when I played it, dude, it felt just like Crackdown 1, just looked prettier. That was it. I couldn't distinguish the difference between 1 and 3, honestly.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that, man.
Well, let's circle back to Fortnite. I think at least Sony could have done is had something better prepared to discuss this point, because they had to know this was coming, right? Like they knew they locked it. Fortnite's been on PlayStation for a while. It's been on Xbox. They had no crossplay. They knew it was coming to Switch. Still had no crossplay. They could have had some statement ready instead of just like, "Hey, we have an 80 million install base. Enjoy it." Like that basically was their statement.
Yeah.
It's not an answer.
They danced all around it, man.
Yeah, and like you nailed it. Like they could just do cross progressions. Like we won't have crossplay, but your account is not locked to PlayStation. You could take all the stuff you earn and go. No, they don't even want that. They're like afraid to even do that. So like that's not an answer. And now people are coming back at them. This like apology that they put out, the non-apology, is just making things worse.
Let me get the official response. So it says, we're always open to hearing what the PlayStation community is interested in to enhance their gaming experience. With more than 80 million monthly active users on PlayStation Network, we've built a huge community of gamers who can play together on Fortnite and all online titles. We also offer Fortnite crossplay support with PC, Mac, iOS, and Android devices, expanding the opportunity for Fortnite fans on PS4 to play with even more gamers on other platforms. We have nothing further to add beyond this at this point.
Be happy for the scraps you're giving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't help our enemies.
So
I love how like in like the statement that they have time to like gloat about how many people are playing on PlayStation. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, you know what? We are doing this, but there are like 80 million people that have bought this console. So just play with those guys. Like fuck the other guys. Like really, like you're gonna take time out of a statement to gloat about your numbers. Like
Yeah.
that's just huge. That's arrogance like maximum right there. Like that's just disgusting in my book.
But then it gives an opportunity because both Phil Spencer and Reggie were interviewed about this, and this makes Nintendo look better because Reggie came out and said, "Well, we're encouraging crossplay and whatever, and some guys don't." I mean, he basically just replaced some guys with Sony. He's just railing them, and it just makes Nintendo look better. So it's like, hey, the olive branch is out, and Phil Spencer's like, "Yeah, we're not stopping anybody for doing it." So it just makes Sony look worse.
Yeah,
to double down on that, Microsoft came across as actually genuine.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time, there was a little bit of Microsoft hat trick, like moving numbers around, but like we have this many world premieres, and this many games, and this many exclusives. Like, okay, you bought some Showtime, you bought some studios, I get it, but for the most part, they came across as really genuine, which is a bad time for Sony to come across as haughty.
Yeah, I really hope that sort of this whole thing turns out to be something even bigger, and it'll just lead. Oh,
but you saw the shareholders. Something about the shareholders. The shares going down for Sony.
Go ahead, Alday.
I just want to ask a quick question. Do you think by them doing the cross progression, right? in my opinion, I don't see if you guys agree. Don't you think this would implement more people, have an incentive to spend more money, knowing their account can go everywhere?
Oh yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
EA brought this up a while ago, and they said, "Oh, we're going to incorporate cross progression and all over your platform," and they did for certain things like Ultimate Team. If
Mm-hmm.
you have Ultimate Team on your Xbox, you get a PS4, you sign the Ultimate Team, it uses your EA account. So then it just boom, ads and
Oh.
everything is there. So certain aspects and certain games it works, but not all of them because some of them even have certain time limits. Remember when Diablo came to consoles and they offered that ability to transfer over, but it was like one time use? I'm like, why? Why is
Mm-hmm.
this a one-time thing? That made no sense. Because think about that. It's like, let's say, like the division. Let's say, look at that. We've beaten it. We've gone pretty far. And let's say we had some buddies on Xbox that want to do it. And now we can get the Game Pass and just play it. And we're like, oh, that'd be cheap. But damn, I'm not starting all over. How cool would that be with my UPlay account that I could just sign in? It's like, hey, you're level 30 pass. You got all this gear. And we just copy it over. There you go. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. They all have these their our profiles behind the scenes. We're seeing that with Fortnite and all the other ones. They have it already. It's just up to the console manufacturers, the owners, to say, yeah, okay, we're allowing it. So we'll see how far it goes, and hopefully this forces it to happen sooner, and then that'll be the next step.
Well, that's like that's the thing. Like, I've seen a lot of companies and outlets just like reporting on this. From your usual like gaming media, so like Game Informer and whatnot, they've been doing it, and as well just like non-gaming outlets like BBC and Sky. So it does seem like it is gaining traction. And there was an earlier report, which I don't know how much I trust this as a thing, that said that Sony's stock has dropped by 2%, which could be just normal business flow, but it could also be a result of this. So hence, if this is affecting the stocks, then I'm sure that someone's bound to respond to it.
Hmm.
Hopefully this all leads to crossplay for everyone. I don't know.
If if
Because
it
this
does, and it's like as simple as a switch, then my gosh, these companies are just getting one over on everyone.
Yep.
Well, they didn't. I remember somebody. I saw this in one of the chats. They're like, "Hey, they didn't turn it on for Rocket League, and Rocket League is still going strong with millions of people playing." And it's like, yeah, you're right. They just brushed it off, and a bunch of people bitched about that. I'm like, whatever. So we'll see.
So Brian, what were your overall thoughts of E3?
It was all right. It had some good points, had some bad points. I've overall found it a bit funny that there were lots of games I expected to see there but weren't. Lots of games that I didn't expect to see there, so that was all right. It I don't know. It was a mixed bag. There were some some conferences were really good. So, for example, I really enjoyed Microsoft. I enjoyed Devolver Digital, and I enjoyed most of Ubisoft, and even the PC gaming conference. Some of it was enjoyable. The rest was just a bit boring. And then there was some that I just had no fun with at all. Again, with Sony, was I just sat there like just a bit bored. And then the EA one was even worse. I don't know how EA just does their conference these days. It's like, how do you fuck up games?
Yeah.
So I was just surprised at like the lack of games that I thought would or should be there. For example, EA have confirmed that it looks like they have confirmed that there's no Need for Speed this year, which is fine because the more time it sits, the better it seems to get. There was no Call of Duty for like the first time in like a long while. Because usually like every year there's some like demonstration of gameplay, but this was just nothing. It's like, like what's going on? Like what the hell? Adam's favorite skate was nowhere to be seen, but they did like do like that weird dick move where they had like that was it unseasoned or something like that or
What
session?
sessions? Yeah,
Yeah.
Microsoft. No sessions. Yeah.
That was hilarious, I have to admit. That was like the biggest like switcheroo ever. The lack of Battlefield 5 stuff. I don't know why there was just nothing on Battlefield 5. It was odd, and the game was playable there, but yet there was just nothing. It's really weird.
It
Like,
it wasn't on any of the like it wasn't on
yeah,
Microsoft show, it wasn't on Sony show. I was kind of surprised that they just did what they did
they
on
just
the EA stuff and
yeah,
that's it.
they're just like, hey, it's Battlefield 5. Like it's like like one of the biggest shooters on the planet, yet we're not going to talk about it. Like, why not? Like your competitor is not there, so you have to brag about it. Like show the modes, show the gameplay. Like what's going on? So yeah,
Yeah,
I was really
and
shocked.
and the battle royale mode, like, did we see a lot from that? I don't remember seeing that much.
No, they didn't show anything.
No, that's been
They
like
announced it. They said they
Yeah,
were
it's
going to
just showed
have
a
it.
trailer. That's it.
That was Conquest.
the only real thing they showed was the tank going through the house, and that was really it.
The funniest thing about that is when I after the maybe 15 minutes after the press conference, I seen a posting on YouTube of the multiplayer gameplay. I'm like, what the fuck? They
Yeah.
didn't even show it.
It was
Like,
there. It was
like
playable.
what?
Man,
You said it was playable?
Yeah, it was playable at E3. Like
Wow.
pretty much everyone I follow for like Battlefield news, they all had like news about it. I'm like, why is it not at any of the conferences? Like, what the hell?
But instead, they want to get on stage. You're what I've been waiting for. Royale.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was just nah, yeah. I don't know. EA makes a weird choices. But in terms of which conference I enjoyed the most,
that's another topic.
oh, wait,
So
I thought you guys have already done.
no,
That's right.
we're still overall impressions. We will.
Carlos sound like he's shutting the door when Brian's trying to walk in.
Yeah, I'm the bouncer, man. Yeah, so we'll discuss which one was our favorite press conference, which one was our worst conference and game of show. We kind of gave hints to what those answers are, but we'll expound further on those later on in the show. So anything else, Brian? Any other overall thoughts about the C3?
It was interesting because only one racing game was shown. Because it was just the Forza one. So hence I'm like, where are the racing games people? You
Like
know, like
actually
Sony.
shown? Yeah, like that's the only one we
Yeah.
got like gameplay from because we saw the Crew 2.
Horizon. Yeah, that was it.
Like,
Oh yeah, the Crew 2. Yeah, I forgot about that game. Yeah, but it's kind of like where are the racing games? Like Sony, like you have Ridge Racer, you have Gran Turismo. You're just being very quiet about it. Why? These games are good.
they had Mon
Talk about
Nation
them.
Racers, man. Come on,
You know, it's like
Drive Club.
where are the racing games, man? Being a bit too quiet. And
Well,
yeah,
what was it that they
it was
said
just
a while ago about that? Is that they just don't sell, or they had a high return rate. Remember?
Who said that?
What
It was
game?
It was EA when they were talking about their Burnout series, and they were like, we're trying to come up with a new strategy, and that's why they released so much DLC for Paradise, because they said that their sport titles and the racing games have a high return rate according to GameStop. They get tons of them. So maybe that's why they were like, all right, well, maybe we shouldn't focus on these.
Yeah, but I mean, if a lot of those are getting returned, that means that a lot of those were sold. Like you have to return them, and they have to have been sold in order to return them.
But then if there's a lot that are returned, then the next batch of people that come in just buy the used ones.
Yeah, but I
And the
mean,
sales stay stagnant, right?
but that's just the sort of the way of the beast with GameStop. That
Well, there's another thing. They announced NBA Live, but at full price. Did you
what?
see that? Yeah, it's full price, $60.
Yeah.
Why is that
Well, the
game full
19?
price?
The new one, yeah, 19.
19. You know what?
If you go on
oh my
PSN right
God.
now, or I'm sure on Xbox they have the pre-order, but PSN had it listed because it was like all the E3 announcements, and it said $59.99. I'm like, really?
Look, they're trying to
wow.
reclaim their position in the basketball realm,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? They did a great job of now. What they launched that game at what 29 or 39?
It was $30.
Yep.
$30, right? That's a perfect price point. Remember 2K football
The
and
2K,
basketball?
yep, 2K
It
used
was
to do that.
$20.
They did
And it
that
was better.
too.
It was better than
even
that.
20. Yeah, it was like 20.
Well, it was at launch. It was $19.99. So I
Yeah.
mean, and it was better than Madden in my opinion. So you know,
Yeah, back in the Xbox One days, or the OG Xbox. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And this year around the live series, it was fun.
And I read a lot about it. I guess they got new skeletons, exoskeleton models, new dribbling system. So I guess they did what they're supposed to do the first go around, and now they want to charge you for it. So
And they have Jordan and some older names in there, so we'll see.
I'm hearing good things. So
But yeah, that price, I was shocked when I saw that. I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting to see a full
you're not
price.
2K yet. Calm down.
any other thoughts, Brian?
I have like some side thoughts, but which aren't really like ET related, but they kind of like slightly are. Like one thing that I'm really finding like quite funny is some people may have noticed that for Smash, they reduced the size of Samus's breasts, and of course, there was like the huge people like outcrying about that as per usual because
Oh god.
the internet. But then the funny thing is that from out of nowhere, there was like this huge following of people that were really enjoying Samus's thighs. I'm just like, it seems like no matter what they do, they always find something about Samus to fetishize. So it's like, just let them be something. And also, there's like this huge thing about snakes having no ass now, which was I thought was like
What? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I seen that. I seen that.
it's just like some of the most ridiculous things just come out at that time of year. So yeah, that was funny. Yeah, overall it was okay. Stuff was lacking, but stuff they did show was quite cool. So uh, it's E3. It's always going to be like good points and high points, and Ubisoft just needs to stop with their weirdness. They really do, because it's just getting weirder and weirder each year.
Well, with the coming out and doing the whole
Yeah,
fusion thing.
or the Just Dance thing, just stop.
the dancey panda, man, that shit will go forever in immortality.
Man.
Oh,
With a Wii,
I
with
mean,
a
what did they announce? Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong.
the check this out. The panda, the dancing panda, Milo, Skittles, the drummer from Wii Music. What else? Those are going to the Hall of Fame. That's all I gotta say. Anything else, Brian?
I do think that's about all. Without actually getting into what I liked and what I didn't like, that's all I can say, really.
Okay. So for me, I was pretty much just in line with everyone else. Most of the show was pretty decent. It's not that easy to just forget about sort of the omissions of the show, a lot of which we've gone over, and one of them that wasn't really mentioned, which it was shown, but it was kind of an omission. It's like the whole Halo Infinite stuff was kind of surprising for me. I thought they would actually have something other than like in-engine footage and a title. I was expecting to see more since it's been 4 years, I think, since Halo 5 came out. And but I guess for me it's like, oh well, I guess they're just going to go into the new direction. I think it's a new engine as well that 343 is developing for this game. So hopefully we see something pretty soon with that, because I kind of want to play a new Halo game.
Didn't we plan that we were gonna go back to 5, all of us, and do the campaign?
What we discussed is to play the whole series, or at least most of it. That's 4-player co-op, with the Master Chief Collection and Halo 5. So yeah, I'm down to do that one of these days so we can stream.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Like a lot of the games that were shown in the Sony press conference were amazing, at least to me. I know Brian wasn't as too enthused by some of them, but I was going crazy. Bethesda had an okay conference until the very end, with Todd Howard and his impeccable hair showed up. It's like just started saying a whole bunch of shit like,
"Let your soul glow."
By the way, there was, and this has nothing to do with games, but a lot of interesting style choices by a lot of people in the conferences. So, like I've been talking about our live reactions. Joe, go later on. Go check our live reactions to like we're like fashion police and gaming police, man.
It was funny. We saw some funny. A lot of guys look like they just woke up.
These people need PR for their clothing.
Yeah, they need some. They need
a lot of
some
flannel.
sense.
A lot of flannel.
A lot of t-shirts. A lot of t-shirts didn't match the
and
the
little tight leather jackets
or jean jackets. Yeah, tight denim. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I was just, it was pretty good. I think this was better than last year. Actually, I think this year might have been better than a lot of other years, except for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, let's move on to the next topic, which is which press conference was the best. So I'll go first on this one. for me, and it's going to be a surprise to a lot of people because, we get labeled as the Sony down or the pony down. Microsoft had the best press conference this year. EA had a bad conference. Nintendo had a bad press conference. I thought Ubisoft and Bethesda had a passable press conference. It was really between Sony and Microsoft. And there was two things. Microsoft had the best cohesive presentation of video games. Sony had the higher tier quality games, or at least the ones that got the most attention from me. The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima. What else was in that conference? Spider-Man, like Death Stranding. All those games are games that I'm really hyped about. But man, if it wasn't for that intermission, I might have given it to Sony. But that intermission just killed my freaking buzz, man. I was like, we watched the whole. I mean, we were all confused at the start. To start with the whole church thing, we're like, what the hell is this? Why are they on the church? Like everyone was tweeting about it right before it started. So it's like, it starts. This dude starts playing I don't know what he was playing, some instrument like
the banjo.
Okay, yeah, he was playing the banjo, and we're like, what the? Oh, this is Last of Us music. Okay, so we're gonna go into The Last of Us, and we got to see The Last of Us, and it's freaking hype as hell. We were going crazy, and then after that, it's like just this absence of anything that's worth getting hyped over, and we were just waiting, and it just ruined the vibe for me for the whole conference. But yeah, Sony released announced a lot of good games. That Control shit was crazy. That hopefully Remedy knocks that out of the park. They also did some weird ass thing at the end. Like the show ended, and then they announced that From Software game that they've been teasing. I don't even remember what the name is.
That VR game, right?
Yeah, like a VR game. I think it's like a French name or something. But yeah, just the whole Sony thing was just not really well presented. I wish they would just do like a standard structured presentation. That would have helped a lot.
Yeah, the problem is the experience was geared for people who were there, and then we were just kind of twisted in the wind. Like the feed went out, the freaking intermission.
Yeah, man.
I think another thing too, like it felt like they were trying too hard, and that kind of led you to a whole like, what is all this window dressing? It's making it tough to see the games. It feels intrusive. Why is this even here? Is this necessary? It doesn't feel like they're hiding something or like they're obfuscating anything, but it just feels like unnecessary bullshit fluff.
I was about to say, like, do you feel like they were padding it out?
I don't. It looks suspiciously like they taped over the seams, but I don't see anything there that leads me to believe that they didn't have a full press conference or they didn't have a killer show. It just it seems like a pardon the ham-fisted analogy, but it seems like a pretty girl who puts on too much makeup and goes overboard. Like your lack of self-confidence kind of ruins you. Like you tripped over your own feet when you had no reason to, and that's the thing that really confuses me about the way that Sony like they bent over backwards to try and make this artistic, mature presentation when you should have just had artistic, mature games on highlight. Why all the showmanship? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, they try to be too cute with that press conference, and I deducted points. I'm like, yeah, this didn't make it a better experience for us at home. I mean, I'm pretty sure the people over there enjoyed it, but I'm not one of those people, so you're being graded on my curve, and yeah, that's where I give it to Microsoft. Microsoft had, I think, probably the biggest announcement of the whole of all E3, and that's the acquisition of Ninja Theory, which is a shock. I think everyone expected them to announce that they acquired Playground. Was it Playground or Playgrounds? The people who make Horizon, Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like everyone was expecting that, but no one was expecting Ninja Theory, and I was like, damn, that shit's crazy. And along with like 4 other studios, and Anna mentioned there, I think there's gonna be a 6th. They're
There's
hinting
another
at it.
one that they're still working on. He didn't want to confirm or deny, but during that show he talked about. So yeah, there's another big one. In fact, let me look that up. What's the rumor big studio? Let me see.
I'm still
Is it
torn
Platinum?
on this because
All right.
I appreciate Microsoft's sincerity, but at the same time, they still just went and picked up a bunch of like, you're not creating content, you're cornering content, and there's a big difference there. And I'm not. While I appreciate Microsoft's upfront approach of, yeah, we really don't have anything in the pipeline right now, so we're gonna go ahead and buy some studios and pump some money into them and make some games, everything like that. Like, I appreciate that, but at the same time, you're kind of taking multi-plat studios off the market that are already
Uh,
making successful games.
oh yeah, and I completely agree with that. If this was just if the whole basis of which I was choosing for was who was producing more content that's coming out sooner, I would have definitely picked Sony. But just as far as the presentation, I think Microsoft was just more solid.
Oh, okay.
It
Yeah, my bad. I got confused.
Yeah, by no means do I think that the games in the Microsoft showed were more impressive than the games that Sony showed. Sort of overall, I that's I just think that they did what they did. I wasn't bored at all, and Sony's I was bored. I was just like, please get on with this. I was I was like, why the hell are we streaming this? People shouldn't be watching a freaking intermission when they've waited a year for this conference. I'm like, this isn't a movie. This isn't a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, I mean, if we're strictly talking like presentation, I would challenge anybody to say that you could do a better job than what Microsoft did.
Right.
Straight, you were sincere, you were to the point, you talked directly to your consumers instead of over them. You didn't talk
And,
about to your shareholders. You just laid everything out without a whole lot of pyrotechnics, and you tried to let your content do the speaking for you. I mean,
and
that's all we've ever really responded to, right?
and yeah, and by the way, Brett, one of their biggest feature, one of their biggest newest features that Microsoft has, that's like a better than anything that their competitors have is Game Pass. And Game Pass, they announced about how the improvements with Game Pass with that faster thing, the faster performance where they load the games quicker,
Yeah,
and Forza Horizon 4 is coming to Game Pass. And
they're
there's
really banking on that. Like that's it's cool to see, because I don't know why Forza really made the difference for me, because I'd even seen a thing recently, an ad for additional content coming to Sea of Thieves popped up on a YouTube or something like that.
yeah.
Um, and they ended it with buy it now or play it with Xbox Game Pass. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, they are really ham-fisting this Game Pass at you. Like, they're giving you, here's a clearly poor choice and then an actually decent choice. Like, would you like to pay way more than you should or much less? And you're like, okay, well, I mean, when you present it like that, it seems like, would you rather have a shit sandwich or a day old ham sandwich? A day old ham sandwich? Thank you, I guess. So it almost gave me that bad impression, but then to see them, I don't know what changed my mind. As soon as I saw Forza on there, I was like, okay, no, they're just really throwing, everything at this Game Pass and doubling down on it. They're putting their weight behind it.
Yeah,
I guess it's just because Forza is such a mainline franchise that you don't take what they do with that lightly. I don't think they're putting Forza out to pasture, so they must really be banking on Game Pass.
yeah, and actually, Forza Horizon 4 looked really good. That what they showed in the conference was really good. And I'm also hyped for Ori too. Ori looks like really good, and they also talked about Cuphead. They mentioned
Well, remember there was that weirdness with Cuphead that the DLC was console exclusive, and everyone was like,
console
"Wait,
launch
what is that?"
exclusive.
Console launch exclusive. Yeah, that was the thing. So it's like, I'm assuming that just means for PC. That
Yeah,
Cuphead's not actually going anywhere. It's just the DLC is not going to be on PC.
yeah. That I kind of when that showed up on the conference, I was like, what does this mean that Sony's got hands on Cuphead now, or what the hell's going on? But nothing else happened after that, so I'm pretty sure they just meant
Yeah.
that it was a launch exclusive compared to PC. Yeah, so they what else did they show? Oh yeah, they showed Gears 5. They showed
A lot of gameplay of that too. That was surprising. Well,
yeah,
no,
and
was that gameplay or video? I think it was just a video.
no, it was gameplay. They showed gameplay, and it's been 2 years since Gears 4, so it's like no one was expecting to see Gears this press conference.
I think what that tells me is that they just continued working on it. It's like a regular job. It's like, no, we're not done. This is one long story, and we're just gonna keep going. So that part was released, episode 1, if you want to say it like that, and then we have part 2 coming. They probably never stopped working on the games. There was no break. They just
Yeah.
kept going.
But yeah, that's my conference of the year. Microsoft won, in my opinion. Chris, what did you think? Who had the best press conference this E3?
Well, I think I agree with you that Microsoft had the best press conference. They seemed to come out and actually give a damn about the gamers, and they showed it. They showed their commitment to stuff. Like I'm surprised. Like the two studios I'm shocked at is they bought the We Happy Few studio and Ninja Theory. Well, Ninja Theory tops like wow, and then I don't know why they bought the We Happy Few guys. They must have saw something there. Maybe they have something after that Microsoft wants to keep exclusive. But I was like, wow, all right. And yeah, they just showed game after game. Phil Spencer basically came out, gave an apology to everyone that, oh yeah, we're committed, whatever. Look at all this stuff. But they're setting it up so that next year. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if next year he announces the next Xbox or whatever. But that's just speculation on my part.
He talked about that too. He said another one is coming, and he says there was reports that the Ubisoft CEO said that they're heading into a console as a service. I mean, games as a service. He says they have no plans of ever stop making consoles.
All right, well, there you go.
So
I mean, so yeah, so I felt that after the conference that's what they're leading into next year. Like they're committed, so they're committed to the console thing. So I have to reverse my position. Like I thought they were gonna let language. No, he was like, no, we're committed. We bought 5 studios. We got these guys working on. Look at all this stuff, Halo Infinite, all this stuff. We're going full steam ahead. So I thought that was good. Now, if you ask me about content in the thing, I thought Sony's was stronger, but their conference was jacked up
Yeah.
from our end. But in terms of the best conference, Microsoft's the best conference. They had the least amount of bullshit and the most amount of like stuff for us. Whereas EA's was complete bullshit, and you have varying amounts between like Bethesda had partial bullshit, the Rage 2 thing, the Andrew WK, I didn't need that, whatever. But as it went on, it ramped up. Ubisoft had highs and lows. Again, they don't have the Just Dance thing with the freaking panda. It's the fuck, and it's like just what we want. Then it'd be all good and evil, and then sank again, and it comes back up. So their pacing is all over the place. And Square might as well have not had anything. Like they might as well just had told everyone else to show their crap because like theirs was
Well, they did with Kingdom Hearts.
yeah. But then why have a 30-minute thing? They didn't even say how long it was gonna be. And after 30 minutes, they're like, okay, bye.
But Chris, you got to admit, Square Enix had the best pacing.
Oh yeah, I mean they squeezed everything. Yeah, it was just 2 cents. Like here, boom, 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 goodbye. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it, man. I loved it. It's, oh,
And
cool game, cool game, cool game. Bye. All right.
right. Who am I?
enjoy your E3.
Right.
Now the game I was shocked at the game of the show that I was like I didn't see that coming. 'Cause I
Game of
thought,
the show is another topic.
okay. Well, how about surprise?
Okay.
Because it's not the same thing for me. But the surprise was I didn't think Resident Evil 2 was happening.
Oh, you took mine.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't
man.
think it was happening.
Okay, so
And then
Chris,
they
we're
showed
going to
it.
talk about Resident Evil 2 now, or are we going to finish this topic?
Oh
got
no,
mine
no,
too,
fish.
though.
I
Surprised
just
about
that's just a surprise. It's not my game of the show. It's just that I was like I dead thought it wasn't happening. And then I was like, oh, and then they had the shirts, and you
We're
see the
circling
guys.
back.
We do it. I want one of those We Do It shirts.
I have a surprise too. Mine was with
Uh,
Fusion, the Excitebike, bringing Nintendo's Excitebike back. I'm like, whoa, didn't see that coming.
All right, Adam, what was your conference of the show?
Oh, my conference of the show. It's just Microsoft. It had to be Microsoft. I was not expecting that. And it's getting the unexpected. We knew that Sony had some good games. We knew that, and we were going to see some amazing footage. We were ready for it. But with Microsoft, it was all up in the air. We didn't know. They kept saying, "Hey, this is going to be the biggest one," and we've heard that before. Remember, I kept saying, "It's going to be big. It's going to be big,"
Yeah.
and sure enough, it lived up to it because that was huge news.
Yo, Adam, they
So-
had something, man.
Hmm?
They had something. Because you always say they gotta have something, man.
Yeah, they
This-
had something. They
Yeah,
had the
this
studio.
this year they had something. Yep.
Yeah. This year they actually had it. They had it. They brought it. So I'm excited. I mean, man, but that what threw me off, it just sort of like what he just said with the Resident Evil, was when they did that whole fusion. I'm like, all right, you got another fusion game, but I'm like, yo, this is Excitebike. When they showed that it was all real people and everyone's racing and flipping and doing the whole things on the tracks and falling around, I'm like, this is awesome. This is the modern day Excitebike, since for some reason Nintendo vowed never make another one. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, what was your conference of the show?
Now this was an interesting idea because I had to like spend some time actually think about this. But I think I actually do have my answers down. Because at first I was thinking, okay, it has to be Microsoft. Like they had an amazing show. They again, as you guys have said, they had the least amount of bullshit. They had the most amount of games. They talked about games. It was all just very games focused. Like games this, games that, games this, games that,
Yeah.
and bish bash bush. And end of days. Now, that was my favorite until I seen Devolver Digital's conference. And like last year, well, I actually think that this year's one was actually better than last year. And for those of you that didn't actually watch it, I recommend you give it a watch. It's like maybe 20 minutes long, so it's still longer than Square Enix's one and more content. Yeah, it was it was exactly what you think an E3 should be in terms of them just poking fun of E3 in general. Like
Yeah.
their E3 conference was not not an yeah, you know what? Yeah, it was. It was like an anti E3 conference in a sense of like, hey, this is all the stupid bullshit of E3, and then it's like one, two, three, four. It's like, yeah, that's true. Like this is a lot of bullshit in E3 and why people don't like it.
Hmm.
And then on top of that, they actually showed a really cool game that I thought was quite nice. It was called my cousin Pedro or something like that. And it's like this weird like 2D bullet time shooter thing where you simply just go through the warehouse and shoot some mafia guys in slow motion.
That game looked
And
awesome.
and the really cool part is that they actually integrated a really cool physics engine so that you can actually okay for one example he managed to throw a pan in the air and then he shot at the pan and kept it like in air so he was juggling the pan in midair and as he was doing so the bullets were ricocheting off the pan and killing people at the same time.
Oh, damn.
I'm like that is innovative, that is something fresh and original. That's not just another same old game, same old genre. Like this is actually some care and thought and attention to it. And to me, that was the most original game at the whole of E3. Like,
Wait, what wasn't that character a banana?
I don't remember. I was too mesmerized by the gameplay.
Oh.
I was like, you can shoot a pan in midair and juggle it and still have bullets just ricochet. It's like,
Yeah.
and then do it all in slow motion. And like when you spin around, like you dodge bullets. It's like this is style as fuck.
Yeah. Side scrolling Max Payne. When I seen it, I was blown away. I was like, man, this game looks. I got to get this day one.
Wasn't that the one for
Yeah.
Switch also? Didn't they
Yeah,
announce
it's for
also
Switch, yeah.
for Switch, yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Something. I thought it was Pablo something. I don't
It was
know.
something with Pedro, like my cousin
Pedro. There you go, Pedro. Yeah. Let me go look it up.
Looking like Banjo, looking like
It's on
that.
my list of games to buy now. Simple as. Yeah, I'd have to hand it to Devolver. Like Microsoft is a very close second, but Devolver nailed it. Yeah, PC gaming, it has some problems. They showed some games that I just didn't care about for the most part, which I thought was quite disappointing, and it was just half meh.
Yeah.
I'd
So
say the
yeah,
only game
My Friend Pedro. That's the name of it.
My
only
friend
game-
Pedro, Metal Wolf Chaos.
Based on a true story.
Oh, yeah, right. The only game at PC Gamer Expo I saw that I was like, well, besides Hitman, I love Hitman. It was the Man-Eater game with the sharks. So cracking
You're
up
the
that whole
shark.
time. You're the shark.
Yep.
Sharknado.
Brett, what about you, man? What was your conference of the show?
Wait until I had a bite of cookie in my mouth. I've been here for 20 goddamn minutes, quiet as fuck. No, I haven't. I'm never quiet as fuck. I'm pretty torn, actually. At first, I liked Sony's better, but that was because the first time I didn't catch Sony the first time through. I actually watched a highlight reel and then I went back and watched it. So I kind of caught a little bit of a reverse feed. So I definitely saw the awkwardness. I saw what they were going for. I have to say, I agree with everybody. Microsoft delivered the perfect pitch in their presentation. The no bullshit, we're going to address you, we're going to talk to you like people. Like, I don't know why it's so fucking refreshing to be talked to like an actual human being, but it is. It's really nice. And I know it was a Last of Us kind of thing, but Sony did not start well in my book with the banjo thing. Like, oh, it's an American press conference. Let's bring the banjo.
Yeah.
So it just seemed so reaching and theatrical that it immediately alienated me and reminded me back to, or it harkened back to old Sony, honestly. That may be a bit of a knee-jerk response, but I mean, their attitude seems to have shifted back to the old Sony that I didn't like. And that really wasn't put to bed this conference. In fact, it was only exacerbated by seeing Microsoft be weirdly genuine. I haven't seen Microsoft seem that genuine and enthusiastic about gaming since probably the original launch of the original Xbox. So that was it's difficult to take one in a vacuum without the other. I will definitely say Microsoft did the better approach. That was how you talk to your customers. I still agree with everybody else that I think Sony showcased more things that made me think, damn, I'm glad I own a PlayStation because I hate to miss out on this shit. So I guess this is where I'm torn. In terms of setting out what they wanted to do, Sony, I think, had the better conference because I'm still more excited about my PlayStation than I am about my Xbox, mostly because they showed more exclusives. It kind of got me hyped for their exclusives a little bit more. Microsoft did a great job of legitimizing their system and saying this is a great place to play games. But they didn't draw me in. But Sony also really pissed me off with the delivery. I think along with everybody else who wasn't actually in the room at the time. So, points go to Microsoft for style, points go to Sony for substance.
So who who was your press conference of the show?
Oh, Bethesda.
Curveball.
There you go.
Love it.
Okay. All day. What was yours?
Damn. I'm kind of torn too as well, but I mean, if I had to go just based on the conference and, I wasn't bored or saying, what the you know what I mean? Like, it had to be Microsoft. I mean, it was a traditional conference and it instilled faith and a promise to the fans. People that own an Xbox console, you got something to look forward to in their ecosystem. So, I felt like they just, I was interested the whole time. There wasn't one part where, I'm going to get a cookie now. I'm thirsty. I'm a little parched. It wasn't none of that. So,
even the way it ended, it had some style with it when it just like interrupted and it looked like
it was great. That was like that. Oh shit, what's going on? Yeah, that was awesome. I love that part. And Sony, the game spoke to me more with them, but the conference was just like, oh Lord, the freezing, it was sloppy. It was messy. It was totally unorthodox, and it kind of pulled you away from the immersion. You know what I mean? I see what they're trying to do, but they're reaching. Come on, let's keep it a buck. They're reaching, and they didn't execute. So, I would say Microsoft, and a close second for me, based on the conference, was Devolver Digital. I was laughing my ass off the whole time. It was hilarious.
Man, I need to watch that now. I didn't see it.
Because last year, that's my first time watching them, and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, this is like some late night Adult Swim shit, right? And now I kind of someone told me, nah, it's a parody, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of funny. But this year, I think they knocked it out the park. And then, if anything, if you want to win me over, make me laugh. So,
So
I'd say Microsoft.
So yeah, like that's really interesting. 4 of us in the panel said Microsoft had the best press conference. 1 said Bethesda, 1 said Devolver Digital. So yeah, for those,
I also think that Microsoft had a better conference than Sony.
there you go.
So in terms of that tally mark, there you go.
Yep. So
Interestingly enough, I think it's weird. What's the opposite though in terms of? I don't think we need to rehash the whole subject, but in terms of substance,
the absence of substance, you mean?
No. I mean, out of the two, or out of between Microsoft and Sony, most everybody here agrees that Microsoft brought the stronger presentation.
Yes.
But I'm also getting the sense that just about everybody agrees that Sony actually delivered more content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that very curious that one
content that carried weight.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the content that matters to us the most is what Sony produced, but in terms of them actually showcasing that, they that's where they fell short.
And there's something really interesting there, though, isn't there? If you would have just let it stand on its own, it should have been stronger.
Yes.
So there's some other there's an X factor here at work that really just kicked Sony in the balls this year.
Also, Sony didn't put Days Gone on there. They announced it earlier I think during the week that it was coming out in 2019.
They showed it in the intermission.
Right? They did, and it was
right. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Brian, you're gonna say something?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, regarding the content argument, I feel that that's very subjective.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree.
Because again, like, you're saying that it had like the most content that you guys cared about. It's like, then I don't think that's a fair assessment in terms of objectivity. Because again, it's purely subjective. It's like it's games that you cared about.
No. I think I feel the need to correct myself on this. It's not so much that I note that everybody feels like they delivered a better conference. I just find it very interesting that of all the people who said Microsoft delivered a better presentation, they say so with full knowledge that they care more about what was actually shown by Sony. So there's a huge discrepancy between, well, I like the games that Sony showed me, but overall Microsoft won it. So Microsoft won your heart with less stuff. I mean, there's really something to be said for the message and the attitude.
Less tangible stuff that we think is tangible.
And created a new studio. We keep forgetting about that. The guy who did from Crystal Dynamics, the lead from that one for the Tomb Raider series.
Oh yeah, the what's the name of that studio? It had a dumb name.
Yeah,
the Initiative.
The Initiative. Yeah.
Come on, man.
In charge of that
The
studio.
initiative to make games.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll see.
Man, their mission statement must be just as corny, man. But
that puts them at 10 studios.
Yeah.
10 studios.
Wow, 10 studios.
Because they got Turn, they got Rare, they got Coalition,
343.
343.
Yeah, I wish they had shown a little more of Battletoads. They just showed that like hint.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. I
forgot about that.
Everybody's excited now. Nobody's talking about it. Before we move on, Brian. So I was just saying. My only point was I think Sony really missed the message on this one. That's all I was saying. Because I'd be interested to hear your retort to that. Is the reason I clarify so much.
Yeah, Microsoft
I think it's like,
Studios.
I don't think I have like much a say in this because one, I genuinely did not care for most of the games that they showed, and this is something that we discussed like after the presser. It's like everyone was excited for Last of Us. Everyone was excited for Ghosts. Everyone was excited for Spider-Man. I'm here just like I don't have a care for any of these, and the reason why I didn't is again the Last of Us. I don't enjoy that franchise. I just think it's just a bit dull, in my opinion. It's like I feel again based on the first game, it needs better writing. Like the writing is just really piss poor in my books. Hence, I have no reason to be excited for the second one. And what they shown, although it looked good, I am wary of E3 trailers looking very good and it turning out to be all lies. So hence I'm just like, so hence why I would say, can I see some gameplay? Then yes, people are saying yeah, that was gameplay, and I know I'm not saying that it was faked. All I'm saying is I'm just dubious of E3 trailers because how many times have we seen an E3 trailer and the company has said it's gameplay, and then turns out it's not gameplay. So hence I'm like,
Well,
okay, you know what?
well,
What?
I would just wait.
we'll be discussing that topic later on in the show. So
See?
So okay, Brian, can I ask
So
you
hence
this?
why I am just holding my tongue and just waiting. It's like, you know what? I'll just wait until I see like some like gameplay from like
well,
some other person or something like that.
let's let's
And
let's hold
make a judgment on what they've shown.
let's hold on to that thought and move on to the next question because and the next one we'll answer it pretty quick because I think this I don't know I hope this is a unanimous decision, but worst conference of E3. Can we all just agree that it was EA?
It was EA.
Oh, easy, man.
Do we even have to talk about it?
Oof.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I don't think we needed to like commanding. I'll give the highlights. No footage of the battle royale for Battlefield 5. The dude with the freaking highlight pants or whatever those weird ass pants and the dude and the nerd with the belt and the Madden thing and the Command and Conquer playthrough with the esports style presentation, like, and it's a fucking mobile game.
Do
Why?
we really have to talk about this?
No,
Like,
that's
this is
all I gotta say.
traumatic for me. Like, I
Yeah.
love Command and Conquer. That's my fucking childhood, you dipshit.
Oh, by the way, Kane's in that game too.
I know. I
God
love
damn
how
it! God damn it!
try to give it validity by throwing him in. Like, hey, I'm here too.
No, I know. That's like trying to put out like I threw gasoline on your fucking childhood and lit it on fire, and I'm gonna piss it to put it out. Like, that's not helping. You're just
Yeah.
ruining more things. Stop it. I mean, Jesus Christ, the last fucking Command and Conquer was bad enough, and now that's like, do you really have to skull rape its corpse? Really? Like, can we just not?
Oh, shit.
It was horrendous, especially coming from a publisher as big as EA is, where they could have just. I'm not gonna open. I'm gonna open a can of worms, but I'm gonna seal it right after I open it. They could have shown Skate 4, man. Come on. But anyways,
They could have done a whole lot.
Yeah.
Man, this is supposed to be a fun time. This is E3. You're just being vindictive.
yeah. Let's move on. I'm glad this was a consensus because I don't want to talk more about this trash conference, man.
Okay, can I just like add to like then of this? Like the thing that got me was it wasn't that it was Command and Conquer on a mobile device, and it wasn't that they showed a whole lot. Oh, yeah. For me, it wasn't that it was Command and Conquer on a mobile device. You know what? That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't mind having put enough games on other devices. That's perfectly fine. But the thing that really gets me is there's no mainstay game on the PC. Like that is the only Command and Conquer game out right now,
Yeah.
Right.
Star Citizen, bro.
and that and that's the thing that gets me. It's like if there was like this and like Command and Conquer like 5 or Command and Conquer Commander whatever. You know what? Fine. You know what? You have a choice. You can go on the PC or some consoles and play that game, or play on mobile game. Fine. You know, but there is no choice. It's just this is Command and Conquer now, and you have to deal with it. That is what gets me. And the fact that they spent way too long, and that was actually the first. Well, that was like one of the 3 games they shown gameplay for at E3.
Yeah.
The other one was like the not Knack, Yanni game. Like
Oh,
really,
Unravel 2. All right.
like
Yeah.
like EA, like these are the games you show gameplay for, like not the games that people buy. Like, are you just that up your own ass that you don't give a damn? Like, really? Okay.
I was surprised because it's sort of like they grabbed whatever was ready, like that Sea of Solitude game, which, by the way, looks interesting.
Yeah, it does.
But I was shocked that they showed that, and Battlefield 5, like, no loot boxes, and we're gonna have Battle Royale. Here's a sizzle reel.
Yeah.
No gameplay. Here's the trailer.
Oh man.
By the way, did you see this giant Champions League trophy we got?
Oh man. Yeah. Let's move on from this then. So the next topic is Game of Show. the big one. So I will start with Brett. What was your game of show? I think everyone knows at this point.
You know, I'm really torn. Control looks awesome, but I might give it to Spider-Man.
What?
Damn!
No, I'm kidding. It's fucking
Oh
Far
shit!
From
Oh shit! That's a good troll, man. I was
Oh.
like, yo, Spider.
He had
what?
everyone. Well done, Brett.
I
That's
try.
impressive. Like, even though we all knew that you were gonna pick Fallout, we all were shocked by it and like we were taken back. So well done. Like you played with us well.
I'm done.
Okay. Chris, what was your game of show?
Yeah, I'm still hype. I know Brian's cautionary tale because everyone has a taste of colonial marines that will never go away,
Mm-hmm.
and we know how it is to get duped. But I'm telling you, man, Last of Us 2, yo, it looks so good, man. It looks good.
Yo, man. Finger licking good, man?
Yeah, I mean, shit, that gameplay looked amazing. The animations looked amazing. I was like, yo, if that I think that is gameplay, and I'm like, yo, that looks sick. I want to play that right now. Spider-Man was great. I mean, Fallout's great, except for the fact that somebody could nuke it, your shit. So I'm a little wary. But and Doom Eternal, like I'm looking forward to Doom. But again, we got like a 6 second sizzle reel to just like get you excited. So we didn't really see anything. So I can't say like, oh, that's a game. Like all I needed was 6 seconds. Like when everybody showed
Yeah,
other
man.
shit. But yeah, it's like yeah, Last of Us 2 is like wow, that looked amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go next as well because I'm just gonna piggyback what Chris said. The Last of Us 2 just blew my mind. I didn't expect it to be like. Obviously, it does take a lot from The Last of Us 1, but there's so much polish made to that game. Like Chris mentioned, the animations. I didn't know whether the Ellie was sort of meleeing a character or if it was a freaking cinematic. It was that good. And I could tell it was a melee because you could see on the bottom right on melee weapons they deteriorate, they degrade, and you could see that going down, that little meter on the bottom going down every time she swung the freaking whatever the hell she had. So, oh man, that Last of Us 2 just knocked my socks off. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima, I wasn't expecting much. Yo,
Oh, dude, I'm in that boat with you.
yo, that one fight where that last fight where they do a little duel and it's like a freaking standoff. Yo, that was beautiful, man. I was blown away.
For a minute there, I was like, wait, is this the FromSoft? No. Oh my god, this is the business though.
Yes, man. So yeah, I just wanted to give Ghost of Tsushima a shout out. Let's go with All Day. What was your game of show?
Echo, can you hear me? Last of Us 2.
Oh,
Man, I'm telling you, I was glued. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'm a stan when it comes to Last of Us. So I mean, that's all I needed to see. I mean, that was it. I was satisfied with that. So second would have to be Spider-Man. I was blown away by that too because I'm a big,
man.
Spider-Man from Separation Anxiety, Maximum Carnage. Like I've always been a fan. So I've always been the biggest critique as well. And Spider-Man games haven't been too good lately. So to see that animation, that's all I need to see. Huh?
On my TV?
Oh,
Yo, man. Yes,
it was good.
Spider-Man looked great, man.
It really did. And to see all those villains and the traversal, the combat, just the way, just everything, man. It was a full package. I'm ready to dive into this September. So, but I feel like Last of Us definitely stole the show. I mean, when they switched to gameplay after that kiss, man, and you saw that hue of that dark, cold blue, and that depressing environment, and just oh man,
Yeah, man.
Wait, let me slap somebody's mom real quick, bro. Hold on. It was great though, man. But my game of the show definitely. Now, if I got to see Cyberpunk 2077, that might be it. But I haven't seen anything. Just seen crazy reactions all over Twitter, and I trust people. Like I trust people. So, like I said, wait till we see some of that. But yeah, Last of Us for me.
Yeah, and it's Cyberpunk might be the game of show for a lot of people, but those are only the people who got to see it behind closed
Yeah.
doors, and so yeah, just be wary of that. Cause
After the show, just call Tony. Let's see what's up.
yeah, just I don't even know if Tony watched it. I know Manny didn't, so I'm wondering if Tony
That's
got to
one
see it.
down.
Yeah, that's one down, one to go. So yeah, man. I know. Okay. Oh, Brian, what was your game of show? I know it's not The Last of Us 2.
No, I have reservations about that. I felt like games that shown at Sony was like incredibly scripted, so hence I don't know what's real gameplay and what's cinematics. So that really annoys me because then it's like just show me what I can play and show me what I do, and then show me what the game does for me, so that I can so that I know what I'm in for. Like I'm not a fan of cinematic games. I feel like they ruin the experience of gaming, in my opinion. The whole point of gaming is you are doing the actions, not the game showing you some action. Anyway, that's just my personal thoughts. So hence why I can't say The Last of Us. Hence why I can't say Spider-Man. What it was actually going to be a mix because I was actually torn by quite a few games. Initially it was Rage 2 because I really did love the first Rage. It was
Mhm.
it was the world's best tech demo. I'll be the first one to admit that. It was a
Beautiful.
brilliant
Yeah.
tech demo.
It was.
But damn was it a tech demo and a half. So yeah, I love that. And Rage 2 looked good. Power seemed good. The wing stick is back. I love that. I think that's
Mhm.
like the best weapon in games. And then I heard about Just Cause 4, and I love me some Just Cause 4. And I seen what they're trying to do. Looks incredibly ambitious. They're going back to the jungle environments. They have like sandstorms, weather storms, and all sorts of
Tornadoes.
like and twisters that come through and ruin stuff. It's amazing. So yeah, so there's that. And then there's actually another one. I totally forgot what it was. Oh, anyway, so it was going to be Just Cause or Rage, and that was what I was thinking about. And then if you were there, you heard my live reactions. And Cyberpunk 2077, when I seen that was the thing being shown, I'm like, okay, like this is a game I am anticipating because Witcher 3 was fantastic, and these guys have been spending a lot of time just like working on behind the scenes, not telling us much about what's going on, and then just boom to drop a trailer. Like it had like GTA syndrome for me in the sense of like this is something that I didn't expect, but we're seeing something which is good. And I have to admit that even though that they show no gameplay, they did claim that everything was all in the engine, meaning that it's probably just bunch of cutscenes. It still got me excited, and for me, that was my game of the show because it's a game that I just been waiting for in sense of okay, it's coming out, I'll wait for it, but then to actually see it in action, it's really interesting. It just
Yeah.
looks amazing. Like I'm liking the theme, I'm liking the feel. If we have a city, it has outskirts and all sorts. It seems quite cool. The whole FPS thing, the people saying, "Oh, it's first person," like I don't care. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
just care
that's
about
that's
the
some
actual
bullshit.
meat and potatoes.
People went
So
crazy over
yeah,
that, and I just think it's like people are just pulling shit out of their ass that they don't know what this game is about, so
no.
they can't
So
really shit on it like that.
yeah, so it's really weird me saying that I like that game because again they showed no gameplay,
Yeah,
and usually I'm the guy that says
you're
we need
complaining
to
about
see some
scripting,
gameplay.
and this
That's
was
the thing.
completely
Like
scripted.
that's the thing. Like they show me what I will be doing and what I won't be doing. Again, they show me that hey, this things you won't be doing. So hence I know that that's a cutscene, so that's fine. So in yes, I know it's hypocritical of me, but at the same time, it's the game that got me the most excited, and hence why it is my game of the show.
Yeah, man. Hey, if it's your game of the show, man, it's your game of the show. No one else's. Um, Adam, what about you, man?
Shit, man, it's got to be Spider-Man.
Spider
For
Man.
me, Spider-Man got me because I wasn't looking forward to it. I was like, I'm not feeling it, and this just something about it just brought back like this feeling of like replay value from like the old Spider-Man games, where you could just swing around and interact with people in the world. And I have a feeling that this is going to be that. Even though they didn't show all that, just the gameplay alone and just the vibe and the animations and the voice work, everything just gelled. And I was like, wow, this is going to have replay value. Yeah, Last of Us is going to be an awesome experience. But just like the last one, once you play it, it's hard to just say, yeah, I want to go replay that again because I wound up getting the remaster, and I was like an hour in. I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I don't think I can do this again, you know. But when I think of Spider-Man and what they showed, it's like, yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those games where like I just want to swing around and do shit. Yeah, just sign in and do it. You know, so for me that's it. That's the one. So I would say Spider-Man.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's. I mean, the big winner, at least for as a whole group, is uh, The Last of Us 2, which got what 3 votes. What was Cyberpunk 2077 got a vote, Fallout 76 got a vote, and Spider Man got a vote. Really interesting. Um, I want to cover this one topic, but I kind of want to make it quick before we hit the 2 hour mark because after the 2 hour mark, shit just goes haywire on YouTube for some reason. But we have to talk about this, and that's the studio head from Eidos taking jabs at the Last of Us 2 trailer from E3. And I was wondering what you guys' thoughts are. Did you guys even see what happened? Um, this guy named was David Anfonsi or whatever. Um, just pretty much said that the the video was fake on Twitter from The Last of Us 2. So I'm pretty sure him and Brian are pretty in sync with their opinions on The Last of Us 2.
Hey, I never said that it was fake. All I'm saying is it's E3. How many trailers have we? Well, how many things have we seen on stage and they turned out and say, "Hey, it's gameplay." Then it turned out that it wasn't gameplay.
You know,
It's
Brian,
it's happened a bit too many times, my liking. So hence, I'm highly dubious. And
I
and I'm willing to bet that that there were parts of that trailer that were scripted as fuck because some things just don't quite sit well with me because it seems a bit too well animated. But if that's the level of Last of Us 2 and animation, then they've just kicked up. Well, they can sit firmly at the top of the best animators in gaming, hands down. Because that is some shit that looks too good to be true in my books.
It
So
it,
once
it
again,
did.
I hope it is real. For love of God, I hope that that is the game. But I'll wait and see.
Yeah, let me tell you, if that's not the game, ooh, there's
Yeah.
gonna be some blowback.
well, I think is it maybe it's not in the game. Maybe that's what they're working with, sort of like with the last one, because with the arm getting chopped off, they're like, yeah, that's not in the game, because they're like, what part of the game is that? That's not in it. That's just us showing you what we're working on, visually and with the animations. But yeah, it's not in it. So I wonder if this is even in it,
Yeah, the,
because
the
like
the thing that gives me faith though is that I don't think Naughty Dog has a track record of doing this kind of stuff. Like I don't think any of the Uncharted games that were shown in E3 like were dumbed down or downgraded to any sense.
it's all because of damn Killzone. When Killzone did it,
Killzone
that's
ruined
why.
it for everyone.
Yeah, that's why we always doubt it. We're like, is this real? Is it real? Because eventually, like, yeah, no, that wasn't real.
It also no, actually it started with Agent Man. That one screenshot was too good to be true with that one title. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting. Like the guy kind of essentially just accused them of saying that the trailer was a fake. He didn't really specify. He just said fake, and then he deleted that tweet and later apologized, kind of pretty much blaming his French. He's saying his first language is French. That's why he made a mistake. I
No, it
mean,
was the ambient.
he was on what Rosie was.
Oh, man.
Right?
I mean, English is my second language too, and I don't think I would make that mistake, especially if I'm the head of a company. But I mean, that's just me. I don't know. Maybe my standards are too high for some people. But
He knew exactly what he
So
said.
what
yeah,
was the word he was looking for? Usually they say, well, I didn't mean fake. I meant to say what?
Fabulous.
he said, okay, this is his response. Hi, Naughty Dog fans. Please don't be tough on me. Just bad wording from a French-speaking person. Always been a big fan of Uncharted and The Last of Us games. Played all of them, and The Last of Us 2 is on my list. And what Naughty Dog does is a ref to me. Sorry for the situation. And I'm like, not good enough.
Nah, I think he was being honest. He didn't think the footage was real, and he said it. You know.
Yeah.
It's just, and he just happens to be part of the Tomb Raider team. So probably thought like, they can't pull that off. You know, and he's
If we can't,
yeah, right. Yeah, it was so obvious. He only deleted the tweet when he got called out, right? He didn't
Yeah.
delete like, "Ooh, I made a mistake, ho ho," and erase it. No, he got called out, and then he's like, "Oh shit," and yeah, I think that's how he felt about it. And then he give oh, please don't be angry with me. Yeah, you got called out on it, dude. It's serious, like, but you're not supposed to like. I don't care if you work in the industry, like you're not supposed to throw shade around whatever. You could be diplomatic. Like he answered that abruptly. The tweet just said fake. That's it. It didn't say like what he thought about Naughty Dog or whatever. He used flowery language later. The tweet just said fake.
Hmm.
There's no mistaking what he meant by that.
Yep. And that second language stuff, come on, man. You've been working with the US and distributing your games to the US for God knows how long, and you still, you just don't make mistakes like that.
Yeah.
But whatever, man.
I think he got salty. He said, just but own up to it. Like, or delete it and just keep quiet about it. But don't, it's flowery apology, whatever.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. Any other thoughts on this? I think we pretty much covered.
Stop with the ambience.
Yeah, this is
Stop with the ambience.
Jesus.
Ambience makes you racist and salty, I guess.
Sodium levels are all the way high. Yeah.
All right, so I think we can finish this show. Thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Make sure to follow us on Twitch, Mixer, Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are in the description below. I was your host, Carlos Romero, and I was here joined by Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Brian Manjoma.
It's been fun, people.
Brett Murdoch.
Peace out, everybody.
All Day Digital.
Throwdown, roll out.
And Mr. Adam Vale.
Have a good weekend, people, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for WrestleCast. Get ready for the Money in the Bank.
Make sure to stay tuned for Throw Down Your Questions this Sunday. Leave your questions on the last episode. We will catch you all later.
Peace.
Peace.